Hey guys, Breach here, and welcome back to another of the Final Fantasy playthrough vlogs. Got a mess behind me. I haven't done the DQ video update just because every time I sit down to try and record anything, the voice goes out completely. Been sick as hell. And the Final Fantasy playthrough has kind of slacked off a little bit because of that. So, finished FF2 to my satisfaction. Not going to end up doing Soul of Rebirth because of an issue I had. Final Fantasy II on the GBA version, there is one blood sword in it, and I built my entire strategy around getting that blood sword for the main game. The problem with that is, though, the story trigger, you have to hit it right between two very fast story triggers. You have to deviate away to go do that. And I forgot which of the triggers blocks it off. Long story short, I missed the blood sword. God, my neck looks gross on this camera. Anyways, so I made it to the Emperor without the blood sword, and the only way I was winning that fight was with about an extra, I don't know, 7 to 8 hours worth of grinding on spells and weapon skills, and I was done with FF2 at that point. So I got to the Emperor fight, and I called that a victory. I've beaten the game before. I have nothing left to prove in that one. Soul of Rebirth you can't do unless you beat the game, so maybe I'll come back to it after I've had a little bit of time away from FF2. We'll see. But I started up FF3, and I don't know what you guys' take on the game is. I like that one. I've only ever played the NES version before, and I'm doing the PSP one for the playthrough. But if I had to sum up FF3 in one word, that word would be tedious. Everything in that game is kind of tedious. And fortunately, the PSP version, the encounter rate is nicer, battles happen a little bit faster, but still, you have to hit story triggers very precisely, otherwise stuff won't happen. The PSP version, you have to, for example, towards the beginning of the game, whenever you're going to find Desh after getting to Canaan, you you have to talk to the woman that Desh is abandoning for the trigger for Bahamut to carry you up the mountain to Desh. At the Nepto Shrine, to get into the shrine, or you crawl him through the dragon statue's mouth while you're minied, you have to talk to the Viking captain to understand that, oh, if you take the ship, then the dragon will attack you, and he's invincible. And just for funsies on game coding on the NES version, I used to do different challenge runs of it, and one of them that I would do quite often is you do an item replacement glitch, which basically upgrades your item based on arbitrary inventory placement and stuff, and overflows of certain other items, upgrades it to something else. So you can get the full set of Onion equipment for everybody in the first cave. So what I would do is I would take an extra 3 to 4 hours and do that item replacement glitch right at the beginning of the game and get a full set of Onion armor and Onion swords for everybody. Now, that makes you nigh invincible. Like, nothing can hurt you until the final dungeon, like literally in space fighting the four guardians for the Dark Cloud. That's the first time anything can really touch you and hurt you. So you do that, and then you can fight the Bahamut fight and the Nepto fight, and you discover that they both have infinite HP. They're literally unwinnable fights that you're supposed to run from. I just thought that was fun, because it's always curious whenever you have scripted losses in games, or scripted have to run from this fight, like what you're supposed to do there. Some games it'll crash it if you glitch it out to where you can win. Like in Super Mario RPG, if you get your speed high enough early in the game, by artificial methods, there's no way to do it in-game, because you can't level up at that point. If you get your speed high enough, you can actually attack Peach in that opening fight against Bowser, which is hilarious. But the way games are coded like that is always fun, and especially with Final Fantasy games, I like to understand the code and what works, what doesn't, why it works. That's part of why FF1 is so much fun to me, is because I know the game that in and out that I can kind of predict what's going to happen. I'm not quite to the point of being able to step route the game, but maybe someday. Maybe. Probably not. That's a lot of work for not a lot of reward. But anyways, FF3. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm at the Tower of Owen, and I need to stop to do a little bit of grinding, because, like I said, one word to describe the game, it's tedious. And I need more HP, and I need job levels. Need to get, probably just need to abandon the black belt strat I was going to go with, because he's just not punching for crap, even with claws on. So, we'll see. I'll give him another dungeon or two before I make that call. I need to grind up my fighter in there so that he can one-shot a lot of the stuff that's taking me out. The only real damage I have right now is coming out of the Black Mage, and that's limited. Because FF3 harkens back to FF1 with the spells per day system rather than MP. So there's no way to buy a bunch of ethers and just keep your MP up that way. 13 level 1 spells is 13 level 1 spells. And when you're using level 1 spells every battle to try and increase your job levels, then shit's gonna happen. So I'm gonna drink a bunch of tea and some NyQuil, hopefully get Dragon Quest back on track, get my voice consistent enough for that. We did stream, not last night, the night before, Zelda. Theoretically going to be finishing that up tonight on stream. So that should be fun. I have the Twilight Dungeon and then Hyrule Castle and the Ganon fight. Maybe I can do that in one stream. If not, we'll come back to it Friday or something. But that's definitely going to be finished this week. Need to get that project done and behind us. And then, I guess Skyward Sword after that. Ooh, gonna have to buy a bunch of fucking batteries. And I do want to, I want to float this idea out there for some of the Breach streams. What do you guys think about Pokemon Let's Go shiny hunting streams? Because, fuck it, I should have got it beforehand. I've got a damn near full Pokedex on Pokemon Let's Go. I've got Pokeball Plus, and I'm really enjoying it still. Like, it's the most relaxing game I think I've ever played. And I want to get more out of it than what I have and kind of what is there. Like, the Master Trainers are great and all, but you've got to train a Pokemon up to, like, level 80 before you can even challenge most of them. And that's tedious. And if I'm catching stuff, I might as well be catching it towards a purpose, like a shiny Pokedex. So let me know what you guys think about that. And I'll probably test it out. See if more people show up to that than they have been for the Zelda streams, which are great for like the first 30 minutes, and then it just kind of tapers off as everyone goes to sleep. So, you know, it's frustrating. But back to the Final Fantasy vlog part. I have toyed around with, whenever I get a little burned out or frustrated with one game, just taking a quick break and picking up one of the side games. And so during FF2, right after I missed the Bloodsword trigger, I picked up a little bit of Tactics Advance, which is fun. It's I'm not big on tactical RPGs. I beat Tactics Advance back when it first came out, when I was a little Breach. I say little, I mean, I've been this tall since I was like 13. So I just grew out. But that's it's fairly simple. I wish it felt more intuitive with how to upgrade your party members, because like you learn your abilities through the weapons, kind of like in Final Fantasy 9, but the screens to get there to equip them, there you can't do that from like the field map. You have to do it from the actual battle maps whenever you're selecting which units to use. So I just wish there were a few more ways to customize things. Like that, if I could go through everyone at once in the field and equip everyone with what I want them to have right after I buy it, that'd be great. But, you know, we'll get there. Journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, and a Final Fantasy series playthrough is a journey of 1,000 miles. And you gotta take it one step at a time. So, I think I'm going to cut the vlog off there. I don't want to ramble on for 20 minutes and shit like I did last time. But thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one.